When people talk about securing AI, they often focus on the model as if the model sits alone in a vault. The reality is messier. AI lives in an ecosystem. There are data pipelines, training sets, APIs, third-party models, user interfaces, and human workflows. The real vulnerability usually hides in those moving parts. If you're only protecting the model, you're missing most of the risk. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Virtual Say So. Today we're digging into the model level threat you must treat as a business risk and not merely a technical problem. Traditional applications have clear boundaries. There is code, there is runtime, there is infrastructure. AI systems are different. They evolve as they learn. They depend on data from many sources and they interact with users in unpredictable ways. Let me explain the three structural differences that matter the most. Starting from data dependence. AI models are only as secure as the data set that trained them. If your training data is poisoned, biased, or exposed, the model will reflect that. Then the second difference is fluid boundaries. Models connect to APIs, downstream services, and third-party tool chains. Those connections create implicit trust assumptions that you must manage. Then we have user-driven input. Unlike static applications, users can shape model behavior, and attackers can intentionally manipulate prompts. In simple terms, securing AI means securing a moving target. Let's evaluate the threat landscape and what you're up against as an organization. I have put together some examples of concrete threats I see on a day-to-day, starting with training data poison. This is when an attacker slips malicious or misleading examples into a dataset so that the model learns the wrong behavior. Example of this will be a fraud model trained on poison data that stops flagging certain transaction patterns. You also have prompt injection and manipulation, which are carefully crafted input that trick models into revealing sensitive information or executing unintended logic. These attacks are already showing up in public LLM tests. Also, you have adversarial input, which are tiny targeted changes to input that cause large incorrect model output, for example, misclassification. There is also shadow AI. We have an entire episode on this one. Basically, it's when your teams or your employees adopt external AI tools without security review, exposing sensitive data to third parties or creating undocumented data flows. Then there is supply chain risks. Pre-trained models, open source components, or vendor API can carry vulnerabilities or non-compliant data handling processes. Then there is regulatory and legal exposure. Bias, lack of explainability, or unauthorized data use can trigger regulatory actions, contractual breaches, and reputational damage. Every new capability creates a new liability. The question is whether you're actively managing those vulnerabilities or liabilities or leaving them to chance. Now let's discuss why traditional controls fall short of addressing AI risks. Firewalls, endpoint agents, and encryption are necessary, but they're insufficient because they don't address model behavior drift over time, the need to validate data provenance before it's used for training, invisible information leakage through inference APIs, as well as the absence of standard for model access and fingerprinting. Essentially, what this means is you can't only bolt AI on top of existing controls. You must extend those controls into the data and model lifecycle. Now, let's talk about practical controls for securing model pipeline. Ensure that you treat the model pipeline as a critical system. Key controls to implement are data controls. Vet and certify training data sources. Use checksums, provenance metadata, and ingestion validation. You want to apply data minimization. Remove or redact sensitive fields before training. Then you want to consider synthetic data or differential privacy for highly sensitive data sets. Number 2, model controls. You want to implement versioning and immutable model artifact. Every model change must be auditable. You want to ensure that there are access controls based on least privilege for model weights, keys, and inference endpoint. Use fine-grained identity access management and rotate keys. Ensure rate limiting and anomaly detection on inference API to detect extraction attempts. Number 3, we have operational controls. Implement drift and bias monitoring that automate tests that raise alerts when behavior deviates. Red teaming is critical. Ensure regular adversarial testing, including prompt injection exercises. Don't forget about watermarking and fingerprinting to detect unauthorized model cloning. Number 4, we have governance and vendor controls. Require vendors to disclose model architecture, training data policies, and retention rules. Have contractual SLAs for security incidents, data handling, and incident cooperation, and also include AI questions in third-party risk assessment. Number 5, we have forensic and response. Log inference requests and model decision with context to support investigation and build AI-aware incident response playbooks to include steps to isolate, rollback, and validate models during incident. If you think this is too much for now, start small. Inventory every AI integration and tag its risk. Bake simple checks into MLOps. This could be input validation, test suite for drift, and a basic access model. Use scoped pilot. Don't scale before you control the pipeline. For scale-ups, establish a model risk management framework. Implement production monitoring for bias, drift, and unexpected output. Enforce vendor security reviews for any third-party model or API. And for everyone else, treat AI integration as untrusted until proven safe. Think about zero trust. It applies to AI too. Run red team exercises focused on prompt injection and model extraction. Models are powerful, but power without guardrails is a liability. Protecting the model alone is necessary, but not sufficient. Secure the data, the pipelines, the integrations, and the people who touch it. Do that and your AI will be an accelerator. Thank you so much for listening to the Virtual CISO. If this episode raised questions about your models or your AI supply chain, reach out at info@thevirtualciso.ca or visit thevirtualciso.ca for resources and advisory. Until next time, stay curious, stay secure. I am your host, Olivia.